Well, this morning I started out well-intentioned. 4:30 we're going to head out and do a nice walkabout. And I started the day off with a burned up cooler pump that I had to fix at 4:30. Simple repair, just a little bit of a time consuming, kind of set me behind. You might hear a bit of wheezing this morning. It's a pretty steep climb. I got a real surprise for you this morning. I want to show you something really nice. But it's a pretty steep climb, and I have not fully recovered from April yet. So that creates a bit of an issue sometimes. But we'll have some fun with this anyway. If you can stick with me about 5-10 minutes, me and my gum beating. Another reason I try to get out here early is warms up pretty quick this time of year. It's already past 80 degrees. This road was, if you can call it a road, was cut into the mountains when they were working on Interstate 40 back in the 1970s. Got a real surprise for you when we get up here, but we're just going to take us just a tad bit. Starting to get a bit of a sunrise there. This is the real soft, they call it a TUFA stone, and it's kind of a volcanic ash, and it's tough but light, kind of intriguing. Won't do too much, be gum bait until we get to the top. Like I said, I'm fans and followers know I got a bit sick in April. For all intents and purposes, most likely COVID, but in the grand scheme of the circus, I was told I didn't qualify for testing. But I'm doing better, but still a long ways from where I need to be, or where I was. This is some of the stuff that makes Kingman really such a wonderful place. We're only about a couple miles from downtown Kingman. The Stockton Hill Business District's right out there. You can find these places all over. We're in the Surbat foothills. My original plan this morning was to take you out to Beale Springs and give you a thorough walkabout, but we'll have to do that on the next trip. I want to give a shout out to Louis Keene at Uranus Fudge Company and General Store. He's a sponsor for our On the Road with Jim programs like this, that and our crowdfunding initiatives. Don't give up on me. We're almost halfway there, and I got a surprise for you. Got an Arizona sunrise coming up behind me. Another thing that's not helping the breathing is this year I put on a little bit too much weight, packed on an extra 20 pounds, and I'm sure showing it and feeling it. Funny thing is about old age, never used to have that problem. Most of my life, it didn't matter what I'd eat. I was so damn thin I could hide behind a flagpole. Here's that beautiful sunrise. I don't know, imagine I'm the only one that has that problem. Start adding the years, you start adding the pounds. And to be honest, I sit on my backside a lot more than I used to. But get out and about, do a little bit of walking, climbing. Not sure this video is going to give you a proper perspective of how steep this climb is, but it is steep. Most challenging, but you know, I really want to encourage everybody. Morning walkabouts, summer or winter. If you're not a morning person, it can be a challenge to crawl out of bed, especially in winter when it's cold. But, well, the rewards are priceless. It's a great way to clear your head and prepare for a day. So how's everybody doing this beautiful morning? Those mountains there in the distance, Wallapone Mountains, believe it or not, that's 12 miles from Kingman on a paved road. And Well, we've had a couple fires up there this year because we're so dry. We're going to be hunting jerky instead of deer. But still, Wallapone Mountains, Wallapone Mountain Park is a pine forested oasis in a sea of desert. The Wallapone Mountain Lodge got a big picture window. You can have dinner up there on the porch, and the elk will come right up to the windows. Really a beautiful little spot. And if you're trying to beat the heat in the summer when you're traveling, that's a great little detour. Okay, I promised you a surprise. I knew it'd be well worth it if you just stick with me. Here you go. Hey, isn't that just absolutely gorgeous? And that's why I call Kingman home. I get pretty frustrated, but you know, wherever you live, it's a lot of stuff to get frustrated about. But you get out in this country, just a spit and a holler from town, and you really realize how gorgeous this country is. I'm really blessed to be out here. Of course, that's I-40 down below. And if you notice right over here, see that white streak? You come up here after a good rain, and that's actually, believe it or not, a waterfall. How's that for wild? You know, if you're ever in this country and you want directions, places to do some mountain biking or hiking, give me a holler. My specialty, as you know, is telling people where to go. You know, if we can't be together in person, these modern technologies are pretty amazing. They allow us to be together in other ways. Yeah, it's been a pretty crazy week on my end of the world. My ancient old Dell finally giving up the ghost. I'm having a lot of, it's getting real wonky on me. So I had to suck it up and order a new unit. Should be here today. I probably won't have time. I hope the old unit holds together for a few more days. I got a real tight week. I'm really excited to be working with Marian Pavel, creating a really interesting and detailed point of interest file for the innovative Route 66 navigation app. It's kind of interesting. When I started all this writing and travel guides and books and whatnot, well, it became a slogan, telling people where to go. And now I'm doing it a new way, developing a point of interest file for an app. Really quite, and it's quite a challenge. It's not been too bad. Marian made it pretty easy, walked me through it, but some of the buttons, since he is based out of Bratislava, Slovakia, the buttons aren't in English. So, a little bit of a learning curve. Nice barrel cactus right there. me this isn't a great corner of the place to be living right now. Got a great breeze, and I'll take you out, like say, in the next few days, and we'll do a walkabout out at Beale Springs. That's on the other side of those, the closest buttes and the far buttes. The far buttes are Monolith Gardens on the Surbat Foothills Recreation Trail System. And then up this side is Red Ghost Canyon. Now they're going to be putting I-11, pretty much cut it right through here, and that'll tie in with Highway 93. A little bit of a tidbit for you. Highway 93 for a long time was actually Highway 466. We'll go down to the other end of the mesa here. 466 was the highway that Clark Gable and Carol Lombard followed up to Vegas and then on to California after they married in Kingman in March 1939. Got a nice breeze coming up this morning. Makes it really nice. Signs of coyote being up here. Cat tracks, bobcat most likely. Believe it or not, a lot of deer in this country too. You can see the tracks here. Yeah, the Wallapone, there's about 20-25 miles of top-notch trails. You'll get up around 8,000 feet. This is another thing that makes Kingman really neat is in the wintertime, usually in Kingman, we get just 1 or 2 snows a year, and it's just enough so you realize how pretty it is and why you don't live in it anymore, and it's gone. Last year was an exception. We had a record-breaking snow, and I ended up with 18 inches in the driveway one morning. But generally, if you want to play in the snow, it's just a 12-mile drive up the road. And I tease the folks down along the river quite a lot, but if you want something really miserable and you like the heat, well, all you got to do is drive 30 to 60 miles, 30 miles down to Bullhead Laughlin, 60 miles down towards Needles or Lake Havasu City. And I say this often, but it's not hell, but if you squint hard, you can see it from there, I guarantee you. 120 plus is really common in the summer down there. And being on the river, it's pretty humid too. But you can't beat it for a winter getaway. Temperature's actually getting close to normal. We got about 1 or 2 more hot days, and then we'll be back about seasonal. 95 to 102, 103. We've been running so long here this summer, pushing the 110 mark for days and days on end, and that is so unusual here in Kingman. You can see how dry it is. We had a real good toad strangling rain the other day, but it was really the first rain of any consequence that we've had since end of April, 1st of May. So it's just bone dry out here. Like I was saying, I start to wonder if we're going to be hunting deer or jerky this year. Sun's got a little bit of an orange cast to it. We've been dealing with a lot of fires in the area, and of course smoke drifting in from the big fires in California. If you do get out hiking this country, especially in warm weather, keep your eyes open for snakes. I very seldom encounter the little critters, but I guarantee you it'll wake you up when you do. That beacon on the hill was towards the end of the war, a radar tower, and then it was an Air Force deal in the 50s. Now it's a company has it for cell towers and television relay stations, you know, things of that nature. For followers of Jim Hinckley and Jim Hinckley's America, you might remember a couple weeks ago we did a walk along the Stockton Hill Wagon Road. Well, that's just below these cliffs here on the other side. And if you didn't catch that video, you can find it archived on the Jim Hinckley's YouTube channel. I never tire of this country. I've been climbing this country since I was a boy, climbing up here. Here's a little story to tell you. You notice these little pockets here and there. On the other side of the hill, where I-40 cuts down towards Sacramento Valley, about 5-6 miles that way. Back in the 60s, a buddy of mine, when we were climbing up in the rocks like this, we found this little cave, more of an overhang. And there was a bunch of cans out front, old cans and broken glass, odds and ends. But inside we found somebody had cleared it out, made a place to smoothed it out, place to kind of call home for a bit. And there was an old saddle, and it'd been in there so long the leather had shriveled up off the tree. And in a niche in the wall, I found a old tobacco type tin, and inside was a $20 Confederate bill. I still have that framed under glass. Gosh, that's probably been 55 years ago that I found that. The other thing you really want to watch out here wandering around is cactus. Most of them aren't too bad, but the ones you really want to watch for are the cholla. They call them jumping cactus. It's kind of a misnomer. They got real fine barbs, and you can't hardly see them until they stick in your pant leg or something of that nature. It's either those little cactus right there or cholla. Pay attention if you get the cactus balls in your shoes or your pant legs, and carry just a regular old-fashioned comb. You can pretty much pull them out, and worst case a pocket knife, you can dig them up. Call me old-fashioned, but I know it's the thing and nobody pays much attention, but I've never understood wandering this country with tennis shoes and shorts. Never made a lot of sense to me. Well, I'll wander back towards the home front. I had to cut this a little short this morning. I've got a pretty full schedule. My first college classes, these will be available on Zoom. Mojave Community College. I'll have all the information in tomorrow morning's free newsletter. You can sign up for that at jimhinckleysamerica.com or the Facebook page, Jim Hinckley's America. I've also got to get that done today. I've got more work to do on the point of interest file. I've got a couple blog posts to write for clients. And there's a new travel book being discussed by Quattro Publishing about the roads in the West, things of that nature to see. If my negotiations were successful, I'll know today, I should be writing 3 or 4 chapters on Arizona and New Mexico for that book. But as often, publishers are, it's going to be a really tight deadline. But I'm confident we'll get it done. There's a really nice little cactus right there. See this one? No blossoms, but not this time of year. Well, folks, a couple more updates real quick. 5 Minutes with Jim, our audio podcast. We've shifted focus a little on that. And it's become more of a episode in time travel, as we're talking about the infancy of the American auto industry. Some great stories about things like Ralph Teeter, the blind inventor of cruise control, and explaining why Louis Chevrolet showed up here. You can make the argument after you read this that Chevrolet is an import. Since this is the year when everybody wants to fuss at each other and argue, that one should get some conversation going. Then, of course, Sunday morning, Coffee with Jim, our live stream program on Jim Hinckley's America Facebook page. Always interactive, fun, a lot of discussion, road trips, restaurants, updates from the road, odd tidbits. It lives up to the adage my dad used to tell me, better to fill your head with useless knowledge than no knowledge at all. A lot of fun, though, a lot of fun. And all of our programs are archived on the Jim Hinckley YouTube channel. So you can find our walkabout through Glen Rio, ghost towns, the Coffee with Jim programs, some of the interviews we've done with artists, and like Greg Arnold, and people involved with Route 66 Renaissance. Nick Gerlich, Route 66 Association of Texas, and Melissa Beasley, Route 66 Association of New Mexico. And now it's a matter of trying to get down this hill. And it's a long grade. Like I say, we just kind of cut this short today because it's just kind of nice to bring you along and just talk with friends a bit. Just kind of gum beating and talking about starting the day and looking forward to some coffee and breakfast. And getting on my feet, but it's been sure a long uphill deal. Hey, is anybody out there that's had COVID and kind of recovered? Have you had some long-term residual effects from this? I'm kind of curious, because I've had the weirdest stuff since April. One of them that frustrates the heck out of me is this occasional shortness of breath. I still have shortness of breath, but sometimes it's extreme, and sometimes it's just the most unbelievable state of exhaustion I've ever encountered in my life. Well, folks, I want to thank you for joining me today and tagging along. I just enjoy sharing this country and well, not only telling people where to go, you know, it's kind of nice to be able to show them where to go. Encourage them to get out and stretch your legs a bit, clear your head. I don't know if you saw that, it was a deer just went by there. See if we can quietly come up on them on this other side, maybe. mule deer. Let's see if we can find it. It's here beating my gums, not paying attention. Let's see if we can find them down below here. You won't find them in these mountains. But you get over towards Oatman, the burros have kind of crowded them out a bit. That's become quite a problem, but you'll find bighorn sheep. You get up walking about up there in that country. I don't know if you caught that deer when it ran by, but the golf course, the water on the golf course brings them down this way. Well, folks, like I said, thank you for joining me today. It's always just pleasant to have one share the adventure. The shared adventures are always the best adventures. Well, that deer definitely hightailed it. Nowhere to be found. Where there's one. Well, like I say, we'll visit again Sunday morning. I hope you can join me. And want to thank Louis Keene again, like I say, down at the Uranus Fudge Company and General Store, where juvenile humor runs free, and the fudge is absolutely delicious. He's a sponsor of our On the Road with Jim programs, as is our crowdfunding initiative. I should mention okay, I found the deer. Let's see. Okay, look up towards this ridge line. All right, let's see if we can get a better shot at these guys. Not literally, it's not deer season. Let's see if we can find a few of them up on the ridge. See them pulling. They're about to crest the ridge right at the top. Can you see them framed up there? There they are. See, he's right there at the top of the ridge line. Right there. Mule deer. Can you see it any better? Let me see if I can. Right there. It surprises people how much wildlife is in this country. Fox, badger, deer, mountain lion, elk. Badgers. Here she goes. Let's see here. It'll take you back up to that ridge. Deer is nibbling right there. See, we're right there. There's actually two of them up on the ridge there. moving along the line. Well, I'm getting a little better with this gimbal, as you might have noticed. We're doing more on the road programs. The only thing I wish I could combine the gimbal with the Mevo. I can't put in the graphics and I can't put in the media cards, and so with the gimbal. But it's also not static, so I can take everybody along for the ride. Now the road we were just on probably wouldn't be a good mountain biking trail, but you got miles and miles of mountain biking trails here in the Surbat foothills. Lots of deer and wildlife and beautiful, beautiful landscapes. Stevie Wonder can't take a bad photograph out here, folks. Folks, thanks for joining me this morning and on the road with Jim. And, well, we'll see you again next time. Take care, my friends.